Conservative new media viewers and Jeremy Lin fans around the world, what is up? It's me, PFE, Paul F. Villarreal, the NBA expert. We're here to discuss Houston's 122-111 victory that took place last night in Houston, Texas. With the victory, Houston improves to 7-4 on the regular season. The team looked good. Very good. They were playing a Denver team that was burnt out. And I say that because Denver was playing on a back-to-back. And they were just a little bit worn down in this game. Not only was it a back-to-back, meaning that they played on consecutive nights, it was also a back-to-back on the road. And so Denver had to play the night before, and they had to travel after the game. So that'll wear you down even a little bit more. And the game that they played the previous night, I believe, was against the Minnesota Timberwolves, and that was a tough game. So Denver was worn out in this game. I expected this to be a Houston win, and it was, but it's still a situation where you have to win the game. So even with all those things kind of in Houston's favor, they still had to find a way to get it done, and they did. And Denver made some runs in this game. They got a little close late, closer than you would have liked the game to have gotten. But fortunately, Houston was able to kind of hang on and get a comfortable win at the end, although it didn't look comfortable for a while when the team started going to hack a Dwight and this type of thing. Somebody asked in the comments for the short video, and let me just address this really quickly. How does hack a Dwight work? The principle of hack a Dwight is that because Dwight is not a good free throw shooter, you're going to take the chance that he will miss one or both free throws. So Houston's only going to score, playing the percentages, 1 point rather than 2 or 3 points. If you're behind in a game, you want to slow the game down. So if you're down 10 points, Houston scores 1 point, maybe you score 2 points or 3 points, and then you repeat it over and over again, and pretty soon you might be back in the game. So that's kind of the principle of it. Also, it's just a tactic used to disrupt the flow of Houston's offense. If you remember in the Dallas game from earlier in this season, Dallas did hack a Dwight. I think they were trying to catch up, but a lot of it was they didn't want Houston to get out and run in transition. So what do? You do hack a Dwight, and it slows the whole game down. One of the things that was mentioned during the broadcast on the Houston side was that the league might look to get rid of the hack a Dwight type of thing, and I hope they do, because it's just not. It's legal within the rules, but it mucks up the game, it slows down the game, and it's not what fans want to see. It's just not that good. I don't think it's great for the game, and I would say that if Dwight wasn't on the Rockets team, it makes the game into something that it probably wasn't intended to be. So hopefully they will get rid of it, but that's basically what it's about. It was very good to see Donatas Motiejunas and Terrence Jones play well in this game, and they did both play well. That was great. Really nice to witness in this game because Omer Asik is on the way out. So depending on who comes back for Omer Asik, Demo and Terrence Jones are going to need to play well. So the faster they're able to kind of get up to speed on that, the better. Terrence Jones, as I've mentioned before, has a tremendous amount of athletic ability. He's a big guy. He's probably like 255 pounds. He can jump out of the gym. He could shoot threes. A lot of the issue with him is just normal development for a young player and mental focus. Well, he's definitely starting to improve his performances. For Demo he's also a big guy, probably about 260, 265, 7 foot. He also can shoot threes. The main issue with Demo, my understanding, is his defense. And so he needs to work on that. But both guys played well, and that's definitely good to see for the team. The team chemistry is slowly improving. Just the sync of the players with each other, the understanding of where people are going to be, when to pass it to them, this type of thing. But it's still going to take time. It will still take time. And as I mentioned before the season began, certainly on Real GM message boards, maybe in a video as well, I do think that the team chemistry issue might prevent the Rockets from going far in the playoffs, because they're going to face teams that have better chemistry than them, likely better chemistry, and teams that are more experienced than they are. So this team is a young team, and this isn't unexpected. It's not, and it's just going to take time. I did see, though, late in the game that Jeremy and Dwight Howard were specifically working on pick and roll plays. Like, they kind of had the idea or got it in their head that, okay, we're going to do a sequence of plays here, pick and roll. And they were doing that to work on the chemistry. It's kind of like when the game was mostly in Houston's favor, and it was almost like a live practice. And so I was glad that they did that. That shows that they're trying to work on this and get it better. There is, again, all the rumors out there with Omer Asik. There's also some rumors involving Jeremy that I'll talk about in a second. The main names that I've heard for Omer Asik, although there's a new one I'll say in a minute, are Ersan Ilyasova, who plays for the Milwaukee Bucks, and Ryan Anderson, who plays for the New Orleans Pelicans. I would personally be happy with either one of those guys. Ilyasova is a very high motor. He's an active guy. He rebounds the ball well. He's an excellent three-point shooter, and he's a good defender. Ryan Anderson is a terrific outside shooter and a good rebounder. He's not as good of a defender as Ilyasova is, although he might be a little bit younger. I know Ilyasova is his recorded age is 26. I think I've heard things that he might be older than that. Ilyasova is from Turkey, I believe, and so sometimes international players will say that they're younger than what they really are. Now, I'm not accusing Ilyasova of doing that, but I guess there are some people that think he might be a little older than 26. So I don't know. I have no idea about that. Another name that's been mentioned as well is Paul Millsap, who is now playing for the Atlanta Hawks. Millsap's a terrific player. I don't think he's a great shooter from the outside, so I don't know if he would fit the Houston system. The Houston system would benefit from a player at power forward who can shoot from the outside. That position is typically referred to as the stretch four. 4 is the power forward position. Stretch means stretch the defense. So if you stretch the defense, you're a good outside shooter. So you're extending the defense because they have to come outside to play. So stretch 4s are power forwards that can shoot. Millsap is a terrific player, as I said, but he's not necessarily a great outside shooter, like a three-point shooter. So my guess would be that Ilyasova or Anderson might be better fits for the team. And Anderson, as people told me, apparently Anderson's friends with Jeremy, which I didn't know, but doesn't surprise me because they're both from California. I believe that Anderson went to Cal Berkeley, which of course is the Bay Area, which is Jeremy's from. So they might have known each other for a while now. I think they both came out of high school the same year as well. And Ryan Anderson is friends with Dwight Howard, and he played with Dwight Howard before. So maybe Anderson's the guy. Anderson put up big numbers last night. So it's looking, and he just came off an injury. So Anderson might want to be auditioning right now to get traded to Houston. That wouldn't surprise me at all. The other name that's come up, and it just came up today, although it's been floated a little bit about Asik, and this would also involve Jeremy, is Rajon Rondo. of the Boston Celtics. Now, I made a post over at Clutch Fans about this issue, and I just put something about this out on Twitter a couple minutes before I'm making this video. Rondo is a great player, and I like Rondo, and I like his game a lot. He definitely could help the Rockets, but there are 4 issues with Rajon Rondo that I see in terms of his going to the Rockets right now. Number 1, he's coming off an ACL knee injury. It's been about 9 months since the surgery. So how is his knee? How long is it going to take for him to play like he can play? Does it take, is he ready now? Is it going to take a year? Is it going to take 2 years? These things take time a lot of times. There are exceptions to that, like Adrian Peterson of National Football League, American football, but usually it takes time. That's the first thing. The second thing is Rajon Rondo, the last 3 years, has had a number of injury issues. He's only played in something like 65% of the regular season games the last 3 seasons before this one. So is he going to hold up physically? Is there something going on with him physically? Is his body breaking down? So that's the second thing. The third thing is Rondo is not a good perimeter shooter. He's about 24% career three-point shooter. That's not very good. So it's for a team that likes to shoot the ball on the perimeter. And if you have a player like Dwight Howard who you can pass the ball into, and he will often get double-teamed and pass the ball out for three-point shots, Rondo isn't necessarily the best player to team up with Dwight Howard. I'm not saying it can't work, but I don't know if it's the best fit either. Finally, Rajon Rondo has issues around him about being not a happy camper, something like a malcontent. Now, is that true? I don't know. I do know that there were reports of Rajon Rondo having issues with Ray Allen when they were both on the Celtics, and with Doc Rivers when Doc Rivers coached the Celtics. Now, we know how Kevin McHale is. And if you know about Kevin McHale and his ups and downs with Kyle Lowry, when Lowry was with the Houston, I don't know if Kevin McHale and Rajon Rondo are going to get along really well. Maybe they would. Maybe they get along great. But I don't know if that would work. So all of these are issues. We will see. I don't know. I'll talk more about it in a second as regards Jeremy. But look, it's out there. And it does look like Rondo's going to get traded. So it's possible. It could happen. But we're just going to have to wait and see. Okay, turning back to the game. Let's go over the statistics quickly here. Patrick started, had 11 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists. He shot well tonight. He shot 4 of 7 from the field, 3 of 4 from three-point range. No turnovers. His efficiency was 16, and Patrick played 27 minutes in the game. Jeremy had 16 points, 4 rebounds, and 7 assists. He played 32 minutes, shot 6 of 11 from the field, 0 of 2 from three-point range, 4 of 6 from the free throw line, 1 steal, 1 block, 1 turnover, 3 fouls. Plus minus was a +0. His efficiency was 21. Jeremy's efficiency was the second best on the team, behind Chandler, Bieber, Parsons. Dwight Howard, 25 points, 7 rebounds. Chandler Parsons, 20 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists. James Harden, 17 points, 5 rebounds, 9 assists. As I mentioned, Terrence Jones played well, 14 points and 12 rebounds. It's excellent. Demo came off the bench, 12 points, 3 rebounds, and he shot 5 of 6 from the field. So excellent work by him and Terrence Jones. Ty Lawson, the starting point guard for the Denver Nuggets, who's having a fantastic year. 28 points, 2 rebounds, 17 assists. Ty played 39 minutes. His efficiency was a game-high 35, I believe. That was a game-high. the backup point guards for the Denver Nuggets played little and did little in this game, those being Andre Miller and our old friend Nate Robinson. Okay, let's turn to Jeremy and some more discussion here. First of all, let's talk about Clyde Drexler. A lot of you guys heard this. I mentioned it in the video comments for the short video. Look, I like Clyde Drexler. I've mentioned it before. I've had issues with what Clyde said about Jeremy before, and Clyde has been very nice to Jeremy before. But last night was just silly, in my opinion. And maybe that's a nice way to say it. Okay. The silliest thing of the entire night of what Clyde said, and I'll talk more about this in quarter by quarter because I have it written down different times when he actually said things, was late in the game. Ty Lawson was on offense, and James Harden was trying to guard him, and it didn't do a really good job. And which, look, Ty Lawson's extremely difficult to guard. He's a small guard who's quick, and as I've mentioned before in these videos, with the way the defensive rules are set up now in the NBA, you can't put your hand on the man, which is known as a hand check. You used to be able to do that. You can't do that now. It's very difficult to guard little guards. Extremely difficult. That's the reason why somebody like Patrick Beverley is so valued, because he's good at that. And he's a little bit smaller, so it's a little easier for him. So nobody's going to consistently stop Ty Lawson. Almost nobody. It's just not going to happen. I don't care if it's Jeremy, James Harden, Patrick. It doesn't matter who it is. So Ty Lawson blows by James Harden and gets a layup. And right after that, immediately after that, Clyde Drexler says that Jeremy needs to play better defense. What are you talking about? And I said this on Twitter. What is that? Maybe Clyde made a mistake and thought that Jeremy was guarding Ty Lawson on that play. But it's like, why are you talking about Jeremy on a play when James Harden just got torched? This was the kind of thing Clyde, last night Clyde wasn't really nice with Jeremy, in my opinion. And it was very frustrating. Now, this has been brought up to me about Clyde, and this could be the case. Clyde doesn't travel with the team on road games, I don't think. In other words, he's not part of the announcing team on road trips. Clyde's just kind of, he's there for the home games, and he comes in, and I don't know how intensely Clyde's studying everything here. And again, I'm not trying to put down Clyde. Clyde's a legend, and I like Clyde quite a bit. So maybe he did make a mistake on the play and thought Jeremy might have been guarding Ty even though he wasn't. Maybe he's not up to speed on everything. You know what I'm saying here? So maybe this isn't like malicious on his part. Maybe he's just kind of going off what he knows, and he's going to favor the company line, so to speak. And what I mean when I say the company line is, well, Patrick was named the starter, so Patrick's better than Jeremy. And part of the company line type of thing is saying that the stars are always right. So you're not going to criticize James Harden or Dwight Howard. You're going to criticize Jeremy instead. Again, though, what annoys me is if you're going to treat the stars like that, okay, but why are you doing that with Patrick over Jeremy? Why are you always? He always seems like he's pumping up Patrick instead of Jeremy. And that's really annoying to me. Extremely annoying. I don't like it. Again, Patrick deserves to be praised because Patrick's a good basketball player. But in one of the recent games, it's like every time something good came up about Jeremy, Clyde had to mention Patrick. Why are you doing that? What is that? And I think he mentioned in this game, this is Patrick definitely, earned his spot or earned the starting spot. I'm not really sure about that, Clyde. Not based on the preseason anyway, because I know all the numbers. I'm not saying there's no argument there, but it certainly isn't a clear-cut argument. So I really hope this gets better. And look, people just got to talk about it. If that's the way you change stuff. This is, you talk about it or let people know this. And so this is part of why I'm talking about it. You guys heard it. You didn't like it. I heard it. I didn't like it. Don't dish your own guy. Now, if there's an issue and something's happening, that's fine. You got to call it out. But don't go after one guy and not go after other guys. Don't call out Jeremy's defense and not call out Harden's defense. Don't criticize Jeremy's defense when James Harden's getting blown by against Ty Lawson. That's where people start thinking that there's some type of, something's not right going on. So, look, I didn't like it. There's been several times this year I have not liked what Clyde has said as regards Jeremy. And as I told you guys, I'm going to say it. I'm not working for the team. I'm not in Houston. I'm not working with Comcast, Sportsnet, or whatever. So if Clyde says it, I'm going to say it. And as I said, if you don't like it, then maybe you should let somebody know that. So maybe Clyde will kind of change things up. Again, I don't want to get Clyde in trouble. I like Clyde. But it's like, can we please get beyond this? Please. That'd be great if we could get beyond this. Now, going back to this, the Rajon Rondo Lynn stuff. Look, sure, it could happen. And I'm sure there's a number of fans in Houston that want it to happen for various reasons. Rondo's a terrific player if he's healthy and his head's on right, meaning if he's focused properly. Is he better than Jeremy? Yeah, absolutely. Overall, as a player, sure he is. He's certainly more proven, and he is better. He's an excellent defender. He's a great assist guy. He's won a ring. He's very tough mentally. I don't know if it's going to happen, even though a lot of people want it to happen, apparently. I know it's being pushed on Twitter and pushed on various internet sites. I know. If Jeremy ends up in Boston, would that work? Sure. The starting point guard right now for the Celtics is Avery Bradley. Avery Bradley, honestly, is a lot like Patrick. He's an excellent, excellent defender. He's not a great offensive player. I don't think he's a particularly good three-point shooter. Would Jeremy automatically start over him? I don't know. That would depend on Brad Stevens, who is the new coach in Boston. I think there's a good chance he would, but I don't know. So I know a lot of you guys would be happy if Jeremy was traded from Houston because so he can go start somewhere. Would he automatically start in Boston? I'm not sure. I do think there's a good chance of it, but I don't know. It just depends on what the coaching staff wants, which is exactly what we're dealing with in Houston. If Kevin McHale wants to start Patrick Beverley, that's what he's going to do. So the rumors are Omer Asik and Lynn for Rondo and, this type of thing. And I don't know. I don't, like I said, I don't know what the latest is on that. I haven't heard anything definitive on it. I've heard that the Knicks are also trying to get Rondo and that Houston's interested. So we'll just have to see. I know it came out recently, and we talked about this, that Dwight Howard said he wasn't happy with or he wasn't thrilled, I believe that was the phrase, about the Houston point guard situation. But that was before Jeremy really started rolling. So it's going to depend on a whole bunch of things. If the team is in a win now mode, and they pretty much are, then it could happen. It could happen. So, because both Patrick and Jeremy are still developing players. They're still learning the ropes. Rondo is beyond that. Rondo's a guy that you can win a championship with right now. So, look, with Daryl Morey involved, it could happen. And we'll just have to see. We'll see. I'm not going to freak out about it if it happens or if it doesn't happen. But, we'll follow Jeremy wherever he goes. Again, I'm a Rockets fan, but we like Jeremy too. So that's what these videos are about. They're basically about Jeremy and whatever team Jeremy happens to be playing for at that time. So we'll see where it goes. Okay, Jeremy continues to play well. He just continues to play well. Teams had 11 games this year, and Jeremy scored in double digits and played well in 10 of them. You can't ask for much more consistency than that. McHale is playing Jeremy more minutes than Patrick in the last 4 games, including this Denver game. And as I mentioned in the short video, I had a really strong feeling in watching the Denver game that the team might be thinking about putting Jeremy back in as the starter. Part of the way that the minutes were distributed and who was on the court and who wasn't on the court when, and also the announcers said something to the effect of the lineup is still fluid or something like this. So it's like, this could be a tryout game, which is what I said, how I described it in the short video. I don't have any inside information. This is just speculation based upon what I observed. But I did get that feeling. And as I mentioned in the short video, Patrick played well in this game. So if they were thinking about putting Jeremy back in, Patrick made it hard for them because he shot well. Particularly, that's the main thing. Patrick's been up and down this season so far with his scoring. Not good scoring, solid scoring. Not good scoring, solid scoring, etc. Last night he scored 11 points on just 7 shots, which is very good. And he hit 3 of 4 from three-point range. So if they weren't quite sure, or if they wanted one more reason to take Patrick out of the starting lineup, well, he didn't give it to him last night. And look, like I said, this is why I love the competition between him and Jeremy. This is good because when you have to compete, you do your best. Patrick might have felt like, I need to play well or I'm going back to the bench. And he did. Great. That's what I said. These guys, they're competing. Patrick and Jeremy, they're learning from each other. It's really good. Even if we want Jeremy to start, all of this is good for Jeremy. And he's starting to get comfortable with it. He's much more comfortable now with everything. You can see it. So it's like competition's bad if you're not comfortable with it. But if you're comfortable with it, then it's good. And so now it looks like it's working. It's helping Jeremy rather than hurting him. As I also mentioned in the short video, Jeremy does want to continue to work on his defense. Particularly, teams are trying to attack him late in games. Whether it's James Anderson or Kyle Lowry or Ty Lawson. I'm not saying that they should attack him, but they're trying to attack him. And guys, I think some of the guys that play Jeremy, and this can happen, there's a reputation for Jeremy that he's not a good defender, which is not accurate. I'm not saying he's the greatest defender that ever lived, but he's not a horrible defender. But what happens is guys think he's not a good defender. And so that gives them kind of a false confidence. So guys are playing maybe better than they normally would against Jeremy because they don't think he's good on defense. It's kind of like if I go on the playground and I'm playing somebody and I just think they're not any good, I'm comfortable because I'm not playing somebody that's any good. So I'm hitting every shot and I'm not worried about it. I think there's something like that happening for Jeremy with some of these guys. And Jeremy needs to interrupt that process. Get up on them, make him think about it a little bit more. The way that he did against Damian Lillard, the way that he did against Jose Barea, the way that he did against Jamal Tinsley. And it'll come. This isn't a red alert. This is fine. It's just one thing at a time. So, but he'll keep working at it. Keep working at it. As I mentioned before, Jeremy has found new levels of consistency and calmness. He's much more at peace now. You can see it. You can see it in the post-game interviews. You can see it when he's just doing any interview. The coaches know it. Daryl Morey knows it, the general manager. Everybody sees it. This is finally Jeremy's coming into his own as a player. And we've heard, Kevin McHale, most of you guys have heard it. Oh, Jeremy, he's finally at peace with himself. He's comfortable with himself as a player. Now, a lot of you guys think that means, oh, Kevin McHale's saying that because he put Jeremy on the bench, and so he's trying to pretend like Jeremy's comfortable and happy with being a bench player. There could be a little bit of that, but I honestly believe that I think McHale's being honest here, and what he's trying to say is he's not putting the type of pressure on himself that he used to. Because again, Jeremy mentioned it in the testimonies over the summer, and McHale's mentioned it when over in Taiwan, saying that half the world's rooting for Jeremy. Look, if you're aware that half the world is rooting for you and you're caught up in that, that'll mess you up. That's going to mess you up as a player. You can't, who can deal with that, particularly when you're not established yet in the league as a player. Michael Jordan might be able to deal with that once he knows he's the best player in the league. But it's not an easy thing for a player that's trying to work on his game. And I do think that was an issue for Jeremy last year. And I mean, he said it was. So now it's kind of like Jeremy's tuned all of that out. As I said, the last 2 years or year and a half or whatever it is has been a whirlwind for Jeremy. He went from on the couch, no name, cut from 2 teams in New York, to Linsanity, to knee hurt, to new huge contract with Houston, and feeling like he's got to be the savior of Houston basketball, as I believe he himself said. Then you got new teammates in James Harden and Dwight Howard. You're no longer a starter. It's just been this kind of buzzsaw of activity. And it takes time to adjust to all that. And I think Jeremy's finally adjusting to all of it. Obviously, he's healthy now, which is a big part of it. But it's like now it's if you know much about psychology, if you ever studied psychology, there's something called I can't remember exactly what it's called. It's like general adaptation syndrome or something. It's kind of like a curve, and it's like, you have so much stress on you, and then you can't adapt, you can't adjust, and then you start to adjust. It's like now Jeremy's starting to adjust. Before he couldn't, because there was too many things going on, too much stress, and because of how he deals with things, because he needs to be in a comfort zone. I think he is a little bit sensitive, and I don't mean that in a bad way. It just means he's aware of things a lot. Sometimes you have to tune it out, and he likes to kind of be under the radar more. And so he wasn't able to do that. And now it's all starting to come together. Everything. Better health, comfortable in the city, starting to get comfortable with the teammates, starting to get comfortable with the coaching staff, starting to show what he can do, so he's more comfortable with that and he doesn't have to prove himself constantly. Now it's getting there, and you're starting to see the real player again. And it's great. It's great to see, and as we've said before, I expect things to get better and better for him. I mean, there were actually people, and this is the most ridiculous thing ever, there were actually people last year, and even at the beginning of this year, who would say to me, message boards that Jeremy couldn't improve. Are you kidding me? This guy's only played one full season as a starter, and he's 25 years old. Of course he can improve. Of course he can improve, which is what he's showing right now. I mean, LeBron James, the greatest player in the game right now. He's 29. He's still improving. But there's no doubt he can still improve. And he's showing that he will improve. And I expect him to continue to improve. He clearly improved this summer. He clearly improved during the season last year, particularly on his three-point shooting and also on his ball handling. There's no reason not to expect he's going to continue to improve. So he's just doing a great job moving along the escalator of where he needs to get to. And it will take time. You guys have heard me say it many times. This is a process of years. It's going to take years for this to happen, but he's well on his way. I mean, that's clear now. I mean, I don't think anybody can deny that, even the most ardent doubters or haters. Okay, after this game, I went and I looked up the stats. That's part of what happened to me last night. I apologize for this video being so late. I got caught up in a whole bunch of stats research. Then I fell asleep. Then today I got caught up in different stuff and watching a game earlier today, Toronto and Portland, and then the whole Rondo rumor stuff. So that's why this is getting made now. Jeremy's PER, the player efficiency rating among all NBA point guards after yesterday's game, is 9th best, which is fantastic. I mean, there are some really, really good point guards in the league right now. It's one of the most stacked positions in the whole league, maybe the most stacked. And Jeremy's still in the top 10. The number's like 19.3 or something, which is phenomenal. During Linsanity 1.0, his PER was 19.9. So now he's at 19.3, and everybody scouted him. Everybody knows what he can do and can't do. He's doing great. Great. His turnovers per 36 minutes right now is like number 33 out of 38 point guards. But it's not bad. The number right now is like 3.8. As I mentioned in an earlier video, keep the number below 4 if you can. And he's under 4 again. Good. And then just slowly work from there. A fair number of turnovers that Jeremy's accumulated this year have been on plays with Dwight Howard. That's because they don't know each other yet. I expect that the turnovers between him and Dwight Howard will continue to go down as the year goes along. Just keep working on it, just like he did in this game. 7 assists, 1 turnover. That's it. So keep moving on that, and he will. His defensive rating among point guards is now number 18 among 38 guards or whatever. That's fine. That's like average. That's fine. That's good enough. And keep working at it. Patrick's defensive rating right now is like number 10. Now, Patrick, the last couple games, the first 3 full games that these guys both played, Jeremy had a better defensive rating. The last 4 games, Patrick's had a better defensive rating. It's not a completely fair statistic, but it does give you a sense of where guys are at. The reason why it's not fair is you're not always on the court at the same time, so you're not always playing the same guys. And there are pace issues. Like one guy might come in and the speed of the game picks up, and so your defensive rating will go up in a negative way, even if you're playing good defense. This is why at the end of the year, there are revised calculations, something called RAPM, like defensive RAPM and offensive B, to try to even out all those variables, or at least some of them. So defensive rating isn't the end-all, be-all, but it gives you a picture of where things are at. So Jeremy, like I said, he's about average on that, and that's fine. especially with the way he's playing offensively. He can keep working on it. But as I said in a previous video, you can't work on everything at once. So if Jeremy's working on his three-point shooting and he's working on less turnovers, it might be hard to also work on defense. So just one thing at a time. The past 4 games, including this Denver game, Jeremy scored 102 points, which is phenomenal. Again, it's like 25 points a game. In his best string in New York, which was the first 4 games of Linsanity, he scored 114 points, which is, I don't know, it's like 27.5 points a game. So this shows that Linsanity wasn't a fluke, because he's basically doing the same thing now. And he's been scouted. As I said, everybody knows his tendencies. This is legit. This is what Jeremy Lin is capable of. And he's better now than he was in New York. He has just a much higher skill level now, particularly in shooting and in ball handling. So he's a better player now. But he's clearly shown and demonstrated, I think, to all doubters and all haters, he's for real. And that's really good to see. And I think you're starting to see the conversation about Jeremy change. Now, don't get me wrong. There are still doubters and haters that want to keep him on the bench, even though they know he's really good, just because that's what they want. That's their narrative, and they want to keep it. I mentioned this on Twitter the other day. People saying stuff like, oh, Jeremy's doing well because he found his true calling off the bench. In other words, he's doing well because he's coming off the bench. That's ridiculous. He started like 5 of the 11 games this year. It's not about the bench. It's about him and his skill level and his improvement. And there are people, and I can tell you this right now, there are people who want Houston to get Rondo just so Jeremy goes away. Even if they keep Jeremy, they want somebody who's better than Jeremy on the team to try to hold Jeremy down. I'm certain of that because I know the psychology of this stuff, just how this stuff works and how people get about this type of thing. Again, you learn this type of stuff. If you study psychology, if you know much public relations and all, you just kind of learn mass psychology and how this type of stuff works. I'm not accusing anybody individually of that, but that general thinking is definitely going on. I can see it. There's no question it's happening. So we talked about the concept of a proxy. A proxy is someone that's a stand-in for somebody else. Doubters will use various proxies against Jeremy. It could be it was Aaron Brooks, then it's Patrick Beverley, then it's Chris Paul. Someone's better than Jeremy. Someone should be starting instead of Jeremy. Well, Patrick, again, I like Patrick. Patrick hasn't proven to be clearly better than Jeremy. Or maybe not better than Jeremy at all. So they need doubters or haters need somebody else now. And so the new person is Rajon Rondo. And that's how this works. If you don't like somebody, you're always looking for the next person to take them down. Like this happens all the time, like in the sport of boxing. I see fans of boxers and it's like, well, this guy's going to beat this guy I don't like. Well, then either they don't fight or the guy you don't like beats him. Well, then you got to find somebody else to beat him. And that's what this is. That's some of this Rajon Rondo hoopla. So that's just the way it is. It's okay. Jeremy's doing well, and he will continue to do well. One good thing about it, if he goes to Boston, if he were traded to the Celtics, he already knows the city, because that's where Harvard is. Jeremy said he needs the comfort zone, and part of the comfort zone is learning the city. And he already knows Boston. And honestly, I think the fan base there would like Jeremy. Maybe they'd like Jeremy better than the Houston fan base likes it. So, I personally would like to see him stay with Houston because Houston's a better team than Boston is. But will I cry if he's traded to the Celtics? Nope. because I think it might work out just fine for him if that did happen. Jeremy finished strong in this game. We talked about in the previous game, and it's eluding me, or 2 games ago, who it was against. Jeremy did not have a good fourth quarter. It was against the Knicks, or maybe it was against Philly, one of those 2 games. Well, he had a good fourth quarter tonight. Really good. His efficiency in the quarter was like 8. I didn't get to compare that with other Houston players, but it was good. And this is typical Jeremy. Jeremy's clutch, and he's a closer. We've seen it. We certainly saw it in New York. We saw it last year against teams like Oklahoma City when Jeremy drilled a 3-pointer late in the game and either tie the game or put Houston up ahead. Jeremy's a clutch player. And so it was good to see him play well in the fourth quarter again. And it's the type of performance where Mikhail's going to be more comfortable playing Jeremy down the stretch, which is what he did in the game yesterday. He took Patrick out and put Jeremy in. Now, again, you will see different lineups. You will see small ball where Patrick and Jeremy are both on the court late in the game. And, again, I'm not rooting against Patrick. But if you're a Jeremy fan, it was great. Jeremy got the nod, so to speak, to stay on the court, and he did well. Even though they tried to attack him late and Ty Lawson rang up a bunch of stats. Let me tell you, I said this in the short video comments. A lot of what happened in the game at that point was that Houston was probably told, don't foul anybody. So, in other words, Ty Lawson's going into like hyper mode and going to the basket. Okay, don't let him shoot 3-pointers and don't foul. Don't extend the game and slow the game down. So that's where a lot of Ty's stats came from. I looked at Ty's efficiency at the half wasn't anything. It was like, I don't know, it was like 7. And he finished up with 35. So it was like Chris Paul in the first Clippers game. A lot of those stats came late when Houston wasn't trying. So again, if anybody is talking about Jeremy's defense or whatever, don't listen to that. Don't listen to that. A lot of that's just silliness. Especially Jeremy played well in this game. Finally, Jeremy's assists were back in this game, like they were in the Philly game. The 12 assists in the Philly game and 7 assists and only 1 turnover in this game. I will expect that Jeremy's assists are going to go up as the season goes along. The team moved the ball yesterday, and as I mentioned after the Knicks game, I was concerned about that with James Harden. Well, it just shows you, if James Harden wants to play in a move-the-ball style, he can do that. The problem is he doesn't always want to play like that. I think, what did I say? Harden had like 9 assists in this game. He can play like that. But he doesn't always want to play like that. The one thing, if you saw in this game, right after Denver stopped doing hack-a-Dwight, James Harden took like the next, 3 or 4 shots. In other words, okay, you did hack-a-Dwight, now I'm getting my stats. That's what it felt like to me watching it. And this is part of being a young player and a young team. James Harden's trying to establish himself and establish good numbers. And it's not always best for the team, but it's going to happen. It's going to happen. And that's part of the development of young players and young teams. That's why, I'm not sure how far this team's going to go because of issues like that, or because of the issues where the Lakers game where Harden screaming at Jeremy because Jeremy took a shot and Harden didn't take it. Young players tend to worry about stuff like that more than older players do, more than experienced players do, because the experienced players don't care about their own stats as much. Well, some do, but many don't. They care about winning. But it takes time. It's going to take time. There's a lot of hype around James Harden coming into this season, and he's trying to live up to it. He wants a big contract. He wants marketing deals, I'm sure. You got to get numbers to do that. So it's just part of the way that it is. And hopefully the team will get through it as quickly as they can and develop better chemistry and better mindset quickly. Okay, let's go to quarter by quarter here. Just looking at my notes. Okay, early in the game, Houston actually got off to a good start in this game, which was nice to see. Again, we know that they've started poorly in many games this season, but it was not the case early in this game, which was good to see. So when Jeremy came into the game with 4 minutes and 50 seconds left in the first quarter, Houston was already up 24-12. So that was great. Jeremy came in the game with Omri Caspi. So those two came in. Patrick and Terrence Jones sat down. Soon after Jeremy came into the game, he had an assist to Chandler Parsons, who hit a three-pointer, and Chandler was fouled on the shot. Now, on this play, Clyde Drexler praised Jeremy for a good pass. So it wasn't all bad things for Clyde Drexler tonight, and that's good to see. Soon after that play, Jeremy got his first foul of the game. Now, here's something that you guys will love that the Houston announcers did say, and I'm sure many of you heard it. In fact, I know some of you heard it because you said it in the comments. Bill Worrell, who was the play-by-play man, in other words, he's the guy that calls the action when the game is going on, then asked Clyde Drexler around this time, why does James Harden hold on to the ball until late in the shot clock and then pass the ball off to someone else, which is just, it's true and it's hilarious. Because basically, the reason why you do that is because you don't have a good shot. And so you don't want to hurt your shooting percentages. So you want someone else to take a bad shot so you don't have to take it. and Harden does do this. A whole bunch of players do this. And these are the little things that not everybody notices. So it was just hilarious that Worrell mentioned it. Now, I think you guys said, and I believe it's true, that Clyde was defending James Harden about it. However, after Clyde said whatever he said, then either Bill Worrell or Matt Bullard said, yeah, you didn't do that. In other words, when Charles Barkley would do that to you, when he would dribble the ball and then give it to you with 5 seconds left in the shot clock, you'd pass it back to Barkley. In other words, I'm not taking the bad shot. You're taking it. So it was just hilarious that they brought this up. Look, people see this stuff, and this definitely happens. So I'm glad that they mentioned it again. I like James Harden. I'm not a James Harden hater. I like James Harden. James Harden's a terrific player. However, James Harden's a better player when he plays a certain way and when he doesn't play a different way. When he doesn't hold on to the ball and doesn't pass people the ball with 5 seconds left in the shot clock, he's a better player, and the team is better. So hopefully we will see more of that and less of ISO ball Harden. Okay, late in the first, I said that Jeremy is playing solid defense against Ty Lawson, and he was. He was playing very nice defense here, so it was really, really good. Then, late in the first, we have our first Clyde Drexler. Not so great comments here. Ty Lawson beat Jeremy for layup, and then Clyde said that the play was too easy, meaning it was too easy, the defense wasn't good enough. And he said that now with Jeremy and James Harden in, it was like a racetrack for Ty Lawson, meaning that he could just zoom around, no problems. And the implication is Patrick's an incredible defender and Jeremy sucks as a defender. So early on, we started having issues here with Clyde. Look, Patrick's a good defender. He is. He's a better isolation defender, one-on-one in space with the guy with the ball than Jeremy is because he's smaller and he's quicker. However, first of all, Patrick's not Superman defender. Number one. Number two, Jeremy's not awful defender. That's really important to understand. And there's this is part of the narrative, and this is part of the false narrative. There's this concept out there that you have to have Patrick out there not only because he's better than Jeremy, but because James Harden is such a bad defender. So you can't have Harden and Lin both on perimeter defense because it's just so bad. Look, I'm not saying there isn't some truth to that, but it's cliche. This is just silliness. This is not serious analysis. This is just, I heard somebody say something, so I'm saying it. And that's what I said with Clyde. That might be the case with him. Maybe someone that doesn't do a whole bunch of homework. He just kind of listens to a couple things that are said and forms his opinions and just repeats them. Now, I'm not saying that's the case, but maybe it's the case. Patrick Beverley is not stopping Ty Lawson, and neither is anybody else. Maybe LeBron James, if you put him against Ty Lawson, maybe he stops him because LeBron's just freakishly athletic, and he's huge. So, like, even if Ty gets by him, maybe he blocks a shot from behind. Almost nobody in the league is staying in front of Ty Lawson. They mentioned a statistic during the broadcast, and I don't remember what it was. It was something like Ty Lawson's one of only 3 players in the NBA averaging 20 points and 5 assists, and it was Ty Lawson, LeBron, and somebody else. So Lawson's having a monster year. Don't try to sell me on the concept that Patrick's going to stop him. Okay, just like with Chris Paul, he's not stopping him. You saw what Chris Paul did against Patrick in that one stretch where he got like 3 fouls on him in about 2 minutes. Patrick's good. He's very good. But what Clyde's saying is nonsense. It's a racetrack. Why are you doing that? Why are you saying that about your own players? It's like anti-Homer. Homer announcers usually praise their players too much. Well, Clyde disses them too much. But he doesn't diss everybody. He only disses certain people, apparently. So this is where it began. Or at least that's when I started noticing it. And I was really upset about that. I mean, I have a note down here, what Clyde said, and then I have the word beside it, bogus. This is a bogus claim. This is the type of junk that haters talk because they don't want Jeremy out on the court. It's nonsense. I was really, really disappointed with that. Now, I made a note that James Harden is not giving Jeremy the ball much. And what I mean with that is James wanted to play point guard tonight. And he did pretty well with that. He had 9 assists and 3 turnovers. So he can do this. The problem with James is he gets dinged up a lot, it seems like. And if you want him to have any defensive energy, then having him do a little bit less on offense is probably a good thing. So that's what I said. I hopefully this can get better as the season goes along. And you let Jeremy play more at the point. And as I've said before, part of Jeremy getting the responsibility and the freedom to do that is by him turning the ball over less. So the better Jeremy plays and the more he has assists and not turnovers, the more they'll let him play. And the more the coaches might say, hey, James, give Jeremy the ball. So it'll get there. But look, James is the star. So if James wants the ball, James going to take the ball. The same way that if Kobe wants the ball, it doesn't matter if the point guard on the Lakers wants the ball. Kobe's getting the ball, and he's going to dribble it. So some of this, again, this is just, we have to deal with this. So still late in the first, Jeremy missed a long three-pointer from about 45 degrees right from the top of the arc. Denver was all over him on the shot. And Jeremy was a couple steps behind the three-point line. So Denver got the scouting report, and they heard Jeremy's hitting threes. Get on him. And so they were doing that. And that's important. It's important. We've talked about this before. Is your defender up on you, or is he back off of you? If your defender's up on you, it means you can get by him easier. The defender can help on other men, etc. This is why it's important to have shooters on the court, because they change the way the defense is able to play. So even though Jeremy didn't shoot well from three in this game, and he didn't shoot well from three in the New York game, the threat of him changes the defense. And that's why you want him on the court. Again, now, if he's a legit shooter, and it seems that he is, that changes everything. And that changes the way the defense is spaced. And that helps out the offense considerably. Then Jeremy drove to the right side of the basket. He stopped, he did a pump fake, and then he was fouled by, I believe, Timothy Mozgov. And he shot free throws, made one, missed the other. Then Bill Worrell mentioned that he saw many Lynn jerseys in Philadelphia and New York, which is no surprise. We know how popular Jeremy is. And he also mentioned that the New York Times had an article about why New York messed up and not keeping Jeremy, which was great. And then Clyde Drexler laughed. So that was a nice little ending to the end of the quarter. At the end of one quarter, Jeremy had 1 point and 1 assist. So he hadn't really started rolling yet, but he was going to, I believe, in the second quarter. Coming back from break, Adam Wexler, I believe is his name, and I just can't remember his first name, said that this was the best that Houston has looked in terms of getting out to a fast start all year. He also said that Jeremy might end up being the player of the week in the NBA because Jeremy's played so well. And he also said that somebody tweeted to him, because he is like the Comcast interactive person doing tweets and stuff, that somebody tweeted to him, Jeremy should be an all-star. So as I mentioned to you guys, Jeremy's going to get a lot of support as an all-star this year. I mean, he got massive support last year. He was the number 3 voted guard all-star in the West, so he almost made it last year. The top 2 guards are voted as starters. It's all up to the fans about who starts the game. If you want Jeremy to start, vote for him. And I know a lot of you are voting for him. And I think you can vote like once a day. So if you want to vote for him, go vote for him. And I know many people are voting for him. I'm not telling you to vote for him or not vote for him. I don't want to influence anybody here. But if you want to vote for him, you can vote for him. And I'm sure, and I know many people are voting for him. Okay, Jeremy began the second quarter on the court with Patrick. So James Harden was resting right now. Jeremy was playing the shooting guard. Early in the second, he scored over Nate Robinson. I did not see the basket, but Jeremy likes playing against Nate Robinson, it appears, because he knows he can post him up and do things, because Nate's like 5'9" or whatever he is. So then Jeremy had a blown assist on a pass out to Omri Caspi for a missed three-pointer. Then Jeremy had a nice dish over to Patrick for a made three-pointer. Then Clyde praised Patrick with, we know Patrick's going to shoot three-pointers better later in the year. So, and I agree with him. Patrick will shoot better later in the year. Because, in other words, he's shooting under his normal percentage, right? But again, please praise Jeremy like this. In other words, you're kind of making an excuse for Patrick the way he's playing right now. That's fine. Give Patrick the benefit of the doubt. Please give Jeremy the benefit of the doubt too. Because when you say stuff like this, it feels like you're trying to justify why Patrick's starting. Well, he'll shoot better later, even if he's not shooting well now. That's nonsense. I don't like that. Don't do that. Okay. Also, early in the second, Jeremy was double-teamed by Denver. I think he went to do a drive, and they double-teamed him off of, I believe, a pick and roll. But he beat the double team, and he passed to Omri Caspi for a layup. So, and I made a note here. Like I said, Denver got the scouting report. They got the updated scouting report on Jeremy, meaning Jeremy's on a roll. So make sure you guard him on three-pointers, and let's double-team him a little bit. And I made a note here that says Patrick's not getting this treatment. So we've talked to people about. Because of Jeremy's offensive capability, he's going to get special attention from the defense a lot of times. And he did during Linsanity. Patrick's never going to get that attention. Probably not. In one of the recent games, and I don't remember which one it was, the defense, they wanted Patrick to shoot. Well, that's like the opposite of Jeremy. And again, it will change. Patrick will get hot, Jeremy will get cold and whatever, but Jeremy's a level of offensive concern for a defense that Patrick might never be. And it's a different thing. It's again, that's one of the reasons why McHale and these guys wanted Jeremy on the court. Because he occupies the defense. This is the thing. James Harden and Jeremy can't play together. Of course they can play together. Because each of them has offensive ability, which means the defense doesn't know who to guard. And that makes it easier for each guy to score. So these are just nonsense arguments. It's just silliness. It's always better to have more offensive firepower than less. It's better to have two playmakers rather than one. So you just have to learn how to play in sync and play without the ball. Those guys, and they're learning how to do that. They're doing that. Okay, then Jeremy also early in the second missed his second three of the game. Or was his first missed three? Excuse me. No, I believe it was his second missed three. Yes, it was, and it was a very close shot. It was just in and out, like it wanted to go down, rattled around the rim, came back out. Then Matt Bullard said in the middle of the second that McHale doesn't have a set rotation. He's still working on it and still working on who's going to start, whatever. This is where I started feeling like, yeah, this might be a tryout game. They might be thinking about putting Jeremy back into the starting lineup. Remember, the people that work with the team, including the guys that call the games, they get information that other people don't get. So they might hear some things about what the coaching staff's thinking about. So, like I said, the way that the game looked to me, just with what they were doing with Demo, what they were doing with Terrence, it's like, they're looking at lineups right now. They're trying to see what they want to do. Maybe not for starters, but who they want to play together, who they want to finish games. So when Bullard sat down, I'm like, yeah, they might be thinking about putting Jeremy back in the starting lineup. And again, that's just speculation on my part. But when he said that, I was thinking, yeah, that kind of feels that way when I'm watching this game. Yeah, then I put McHale now playing Jeremy with Dwight Howard and James Harden. Looks like tryout time. In other words, exactly what I just said. In other words, hey, let's see how Jeremy looks playing with Dwight and James, because we know Dwight and James are playing a lot with Patrick. Let's see how this looks with Jeremy. So it's as I said, that's what this felt like tonight. And as I mentioned before, Patrick did well tonight. And I'm going to tell you, Patrick played like a guy in this game who didn't want to lose a starting spot and might have been a little concerned that he might lose it. So you got to give Patrick credit. As I said, competition. You got to play well, so you play well. I love where things are at. Sure, I'd love to see Jeremy back in the starting lineup. This is all going well, and Jeremy's doing well with it. The biggest, Jeremy had a couple defensive lapses tonight. The main thing with Jeremy tonight in terms of a competition is he didn't hit his three-pointers, but he only took 2, and he's still shooting 44% for the year, which is ridiculous. So It might have made it a little easier for the coaches to put Jeremy back in the starting lineup if they were thinking about that, if Patrick missed his threes and Jeremy hit his. So I will say that. That's true. I mean, that's the way this goes. But as I told you guys before, if the coaching staff is fair about this, and I don't think they were fair in the preseason, but during the season, at least in recent games, I think they've been a lot more fair in terms of minutes and who's playing well. As long as they're fair about it, then I'm okay with it. Now, they might not want to change the starting rotation. In other words, they might take a quick look at it, and then even if Jeremy plays great and Patrick doesn't, they might stay with Patrick in the starting lineup. So that might not be great. But as long as they're fair about the minutes played, I'm okay. I'm okay. Jeremy, it's not about starting or, it's not about him playing well because he's coming off the bench. That's crap. Excuse my language. But if he keeps playing well, he's playing well. And I'm okay with that. So even though I would like to see him as a starter, just play well and just improve and be calm. And that's what he's doing. So if that's happening, I'm good with it. I'm good with it. Then I made a note saying Houston getting assist tonight. So again, this is how the team wants to play. Move the ball. Move the ball. That's the way they were playing tonight. Then, middle of the second, Jeremy had a nice little hesitation dribble in transition. Hesitation dribbles like you look like you're gonna, looks like you're going forward, then it looks like you're gonna pull back or stop going forward, and then you hesitate, and then you go forward again. It throws the defender off balance. And then he looked for a pass. He was trying to pass the ball, but didn't have anybody to pass it to, so he just went right to the basket for a layup, which is a really, really nice play. Then they showed that Yao Ming was in attendance at the game. Jeremy picked up his second foul of the game against guarding Ty Lawson. This was middle of the second as well. Then late second, Jeremy torched Ty Lawson for a layup. I mean, just left him in the dust. I don't know what happened on the play, but there was no help defense. No one was back guarding the basket, and Jeremy saw that, I believe. And whatever he did to Ty Lawson, he just dusted him. It was just a great play. It was on the right side of the basket, and he almost looked like he was going to go for a two-handed dunk. He basically kind of laid the ball in around the basket height with both hands. So I looked like he was going to double-hand dunk it, which was pretty sweet. Then Clyde mentioned when Jeremy sees there's no shot blocker, he'll blow by his guy for the hoop, which is true. And that was it was actually a nice thing to say. And that's correct. We've talked about that. If you don't have a shot blocker back there against Jeremy, you're going to have a problem because Jeremy's almost certainly going to be able to beat his guy off the dribble. And that's exactly what happened on that play. Then I put Jeremy beats Ty Lawson on a spin and fade shot. Like basically he made a move on him on the perimeter and then did a fade away. And I just put, Jeremy was just zoning right now. And what I see, he was in a groove right now. So he was starting to get into a real groove. What I can also see, what he was showing in this sequence, which happened for the rest of the second quarter. He's put in work on his individual perimeter scoring moves. We've talked before about how Jeremy can improve as a scorer. We talked about runners and floaters around the basket. When I've also mentioned work on your one-on-one moves on the perimeter, certain dribble moves and getting space for your jump shot. Well, that's what he was showing right here. These moves were great. And I haven't seen Jeremy do a lot of these. Or I certainly haven't seen him do moves like this well. These look good. They look polished. These are the types of moves that are going to be able to make him an even better scorer. We said the shot against Toronto late, the left-handed floater, teardrop. He never did that shot before. Not that I've ever seen. But now he can do it. And that's what some of these perimeter one-on-one moves were. It's like, wow, this is great, man. He's just getting better and better, and now he's becoming an even deadlier scorer. Right after this, Jeremy played great defense against Ty Lawson. Just phenomenal defense. He was all over Ty Lawson. Ty Lawson went up for a shot, thought he was open, realized Jeremy was all over him, was probably going to block his shot. And then Ty Lawson looked to pass the ball, and he couldn't. So he came down with the ball, which is traveling. You can't jump up to shoot and come back down, or it's a travel. So he forced the turnover. So as I said, I mean, I don't know if I heard Clyde say anything good about that play. But Jeremy was grooving now. He was feeling it. And it's like he was staking out. Again, if this was a tryout game, Jeremy was putting his best foot forward as well and doing quite well for himself. I mean, this was, I was just writing like, man, this is incredible. Wow. It's just amazing. So it's very impressive to see this. Very impressive. I mean, Jeremy, his confidence is just blooming now. And it's great to see. Again, there's still going to be some ups and downs, but he's clearly moving forward as a player, in his confidence, in his mental peace. It's just great. It's just great to see. This is exactly what we're seeing now. Also, late second, Jeremy had a great no-look pass to Terrence Jones, who wasn't expecting it, I don't think. If he was expecting it, it would have been a dunk. And this is, again, these are the types of plays that later in the year will be assist. So Jeremy's assist number, in my opinion, is going to go up. And the turnovers are going to go down. But guys aren't used to his passes right now. If you notice the plays, a lot of the plays in New York and during Linsanity 1.0, those guys were used to Jeremy's passing. Maybe because they had played with him the whole season, like in practice. They knew they were looking for his passes. Houston's not looking for his passes yet. This is why you'll see Jeremy throw the ball and it hits Dwight in the chest and goes out of bounds. Jeremy throws the ball to Terrence. Terrence isn't looking for it. These plays will be converted later, and they're going to look really great when they get converted. So it'll be nice. Then I put Ty Lawson getting dishes, meaning assist, against Jeremy for assist numbers. So, look, you're not going to stop Ty Lawson completely, particularly not with the way he's playing right now. He's on a roll. I mean, when the team faced Chris Paul the first time around, Chris Paul was on a total roll. Since that time, Chris Paul's not on the same roll. So it comes and it goes. Right now, Ty Lawson's on a roll, and you got to give him credit. I mean, he's playing like an all-star player, and that's not going to get completely shut down, very likely. Then Jeremy was beaten on a play by Ty Lawson. Like, Ty Lawson beat him on the dribble, but then Jeremy came. Ty passed the ball off. So he dished the ball to another player, and Jeremy blocked that player's shot. And it was a nice block. And then, unfortunately, so they blocked it, and then the player recovered and dunked the ball. The announcer called it wrong. He said that Terrence Jones blocked the shot or something. No, he didn't. Jeremy blocked the shot. It was a terrific block. It was a really, really nice block. Finally, to end the half, Jeremy missed a layup at the buzzer. So there was like 3 seconds left, and he got the ball in bounds, ran down the court, and just missed the layup at the buzzer. So going into halftime, score was 63-46 for Houston. Jeremy had 9 points, 3 rebounds, and 3 assists. His efficiency number at that time was, was 12. He was in a good little groove. The second quarter, he really, really rolled it. He was doing well. They then interviewed Kelvin Sampson, who's the assistant coach, and he mentioned, we shared the ball, and we didn't play 1-on-2. Guess who that was probably directed at? So again, the coaches know They know what the assist number was in the Philly game versus what it was in the Knicks game. So they will pull James Harden in at times, particularly when Jeremy plays well. In other words, you might let James Harden play the way he wants when nobody else is playing well. But if someone else is playing well, hey, James, don't play like that. Now that Jeremy's playing well, James, you need to pass the ball more. So this will be this is going to have to be worked on the whole year. As Jeremy can keep playing well, keep being consistent, he's going to get the ball more for shooting, and he's going to get to control the ball more. So we just have to keep watching it, and Jeremy, just as he continues to play well, he'll get the ball more and the offense more. He'll get to control the offense more as well. Houston as a team shot 60% in the first half, which is phenomenal. And the announcers coming out of halftime mentioned that Demo and Jeremy had 17 points combined in the second quarter. So in other words, these guys really did well in the second quarter. So it was nice to hear that. Okay, going into the third quarter, Jeremy was on the bench to start the third quarter. Then I put Patrick playing well. Like I said, Patrick looked to me like someone that was playing to try to keep his spot as a starter. And he did well. You give him credit for that. He absolutely played well in this game. Jeremy came in with 4 minutes and 33 seconds left in the quarter. Then late in the third, he missed a mid-range shot, meaning not a close shot, not a far shot, meaning the three-pointer was maybe 15, 17 feet away. Then he had his fourth assist to Omri Caspi for a three-pointer. Then Jeremy had his only turnover of the game. He was dribbling the ball on a fast break. And I think right after he got the ball, the defender timed him, knew where Jeremy was going to be, and he went and he poked the ball before Jeremy was looking away to do something else. And the guy got the ball just as he just played it. It was a nice play, and he got the right timing on the play. So it's too bad, because if that wouldn't have happened, Jeremy probably would have had a layup. But it happens. And so, again, that was the only turnover of the game, so there's really not a whole much to complain about. Then I put Jeremy had a handoff blown assist layup try by Omri Caspi. So, again, another thing where the teammates weren't ready for the passes. They need to learn to be ready for these passes with Jeremy around. And they will learn that, but it's going to take time. This happened a few times in the game, and we've seen it happen in other games. Then, near the end of the third quarter, Jeremy drove to the hoop on the left side of the basket, was fouled, 2 free throws, and he made both of them. So at the end of 3 quarters, Jeremy had 11 points, 3 rebounds, and 4 assists. His efficiency number at that point in time was 13. At the start of the fourth quarter, Jeremy began on the court with Patrick, playing that lineup. Then early in the fourth, Jeremy passed the ball to Francisco Garcia for a blown assist, missed three-pointer. Then I put Jeremy drove to the rim on the right-hand side, kind of like going on a diagonal angle going towards the rim, and he was fouled low in the shot clock. It was a very nice play. And he got 2 free throws, made 1, missed the other. Then Jeremy looked like he was trying to run a pick and roll with Dwight. But Dwight didn't have an angle for Jeremy to pass it to him. So instead, Jeremy just went for a layup. He went up and shot the ball. And I believe at that point, and he scored. So it was a good decision by Jeremy. He didn't have an angle. One of the ways in which Jeremy is going to get fewer turnovers is by looking to shoot instead of looking to pass on certain plays. If you'll notice, a lot of times Jeremy gets turnovers when he makes the drives and he stops his dribble. He's looking for passes. So he'll make a little bounce pass to Omer, but it gets broken up. So in some of these plays, don't look for the pass. If you don't have the pass, don't pass. Just shoot. And that's what this play was, and he had a play similar to it earlier in the game. That's good. As Jeremy develops more of the runners and floaters and all, he will shoot more. Although he likes to pass. He wants to make plays. But sometimes there isn't an angle or room to make a play. So just shoot your shot. And that's, again, he did that several times in this game, and he did it well, and it was good to see. Then Jeremy tipped the ball. Denver had shot, and Jeremy got his hand on the ball and tipped it out to another Houston guy. So that there's no stat for that, but it was a good play. Then Jeremy had a nice pass to Dwight for an alley-oop, but Dwight was held on the play. In other words, they wouldn't let him get the alley-oop. So that's another could have been assist that didn't happen because Dwight was fouled. But so as I said, Jeremy had a good overall groove in this game. He was scoring well, and he was making plays well. Yeah, and he finished with 7 assists. That could have easily been 10 assists. And just the 1 turnover. So he's finding his zone. He had a good rhythm in this game, particularly in the second quarter and particularly in the fourth quarter. He's performing well. And the more comfortable he gets, the more he's able to play well like this, the more the confidence is going to grow. And you're going to see even more great play. A lot of people have said, Jeremy doesn't have confidence. No, it's that he's a young player who hasn't played a lot. And some of the coaches, they don't like this, or Mikhail talking about 9 turnovers, so you start thinking a lot. Well, if you're thinking, you can't just play. So when Jeremy's able to just play, that's when you see his offensive wizardry. And so the more that he's able to just play well, and so he's comfortable, and he's confident just that he's not going to get pulled from the game, or someone's going to complain about this, or James Harden's going to yell at him for that, then you'll see more of this, of what he did tonight. So I don't know if I would call it confidence. I mean, it kind of is, but it's not like Jeremy's not a confident player. It's more about circumstances outside of him and their confidence in him. And them leaning on him. Hey, give me the ball. Hey, don't do this. Don't do that. Yeah, blah, 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 blah. So the more that he's able to be comfortable, you'll see more games like this. The ability that he had during Linsanity, that didn't go away. That's what I try to tell people. Are you talking a fluke? There is no fluke. You can't replicate what he did. In other words, you could put 100 guys on the court, and they wouldn't be able to do what Jeremy did, because Jeremy has a certain ability level and just a skill set and a court vision that other guys don't have. And so the more comfortable that Jeremy gets, the more you will see the full offensive arsenal of Linsanity 1.0. You will see the passes. You will see the alley-oop. You will see more of this. And you started to see it in this game, the same way that you saw it in the Philly game. What it looked like the coaches, again, they looked at the Philly game, they looked at the New York game and said, we need to move the ball like the Philly game. Are you listening, James Harden? And so James Harden passed more, and they let Jeremy pass more too. So the more they let this happen, the more it's going to happen. And it's happening. Great. That's what we want to see. That's why people after the game, all this stuff, and no, people defense, Tyler. No. Jeremy is playing great right now. He's playing great. He's on the path to ultimate offensive wizardry freedom. If he keeps playing like this, it's only a matter of time. Look, we're seeing everything, but pretty soon you're going to start seeing all the assists again too. This is it. We're on the road here, so I'm perfectly happy with how this game went. Okay, then middle of the fourth, assist number 5 of the game. Jeremy passed the ball to Dwight Howard, who got a nice little layup, I believe, on the left-hand side of the lane. Now, this is the point in the game where I said, yeah, they're working on pick and rolls here. This is a couple different plays in a row. They tried to run plays, and you could see them talking. In other words, this was the live practice type of game, of part of the game. Even though the game was still going on, and it was relatively close. I don't know, it was like 15 points. Those two, Jeremy and Dwight, decided, maybe with the coaching staff's input, let's work on our pick and roll now. And that's exactly what they did, and it was working. It was working great. And then I put the note, the team is working on their chemistry, and yes, this is like a live practice. Jeremy then missed on a mid-range shot on another individual move. So again, he's working on his own individual perimeter offensive moves, which is exactly what he needs to do. Again, it was good. Then Jeremy almost had a turnover, but it wasn't a turnover. I didn't see the play. I just know that it went out of bounds off of Denver, but it was close to a turnover. And Clyde Drexler came in to say something like, you can't do that at this point in the game. Dude, Houston's up by like 12 or 14 points. Why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? That's all I'm going to say. That's it. Okay. With about 6 minutes left in the game, Patrick went out of the game for James Harden, but Jeremy stayed in. So again, more fair McHale. Again, we got to give him credit when he deserves credit. He stayed with Jeremy in this game, and he closed the game with Jeremy. And he stayed with Jeremy even when Ty Lawson started doing well. Give him credit. That's what we want to see. And look, if Patrick plays better than Jeremy in a game, well, he deserves to finish the game. But this was a reward because of how well Jeremy's been playing. And not just a reward. It's like a confidence thing. Like, yeah, we know you can do this now. Now we're believing in it more. So you finished the game. That's great, man. This is great. Look, part of what I told you guys, and I don't remember what it was. I think it was it was the Taiwan game. Part of what happened, part of what McHale said, and I remember what I commented. McHale said, yeah, Jeremy's half the world rooting for him. And I remember after that game, I started thinking, I'm looking at this a different way. In other words, I think part of what McHale is thinking and the team is thinking is, dude, we got to take some of the pressure off of Jeremy. In other words, maybe it's better for him if he doesn't start. Not in the hater sense of he can't start. He's not good enough to start. But in a sense of like, maybe this will kind of tune down half the world rooting for him and let him just chill out. One of the things I can tell you when I've researched Jeremy and his time in Golden State, because again, I didn't get to see him play in Golden State. I wasn't paying attention at that time. One of the things I noticed and read was that one of the local writers, and I don't remember who it was now, wrote an article that basically was headlined, "Stop Cheering for Jeremy Lin." And what the article was saying was that Jeremy's fan base was so excited for him in Golden State that whenever he would come into games, particularly the home games, like he was too nervous. He was too geeked up because the fans were just going crazy for him. So in other words, it was affecting him and his play. And so I think that's kind of part of what McHale was saying. Like, look, all these people are rooting for Jeremy, and I think Jeremy might be thinking about it too much. And so I remember after the Taiwan game thinking, I kind of can see a scenario where you might want to bring him off the bench. Not because he's not good, but because he has to find a mental place where this incredible fan base of his doesn't affect him. In other words, you tune it out. These millions and millions and millions of people that are cheering for you. And he's starting to find that now. And look, Jeremy said this. He's not paying attention to stuff. Last year, again, he said in his testimonies, he wanted to prove his supporters right and basically prove critics wrong. You can't play like that, especially for somebody like Jeremy who is so popular. It can be very hard to tune out the noise when you're that popular and that polarizing. Again, he's got a lot of dislikers, which is stupid, but that's a whole different discussion. You have to find a way to tune that out. And again, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that Mikhail's great because he benched Jeremy. No, Jeremy's finding that space now, mentally. That's a big reason, I think, of why he's able to play the way he's playing right now. And I think the team knows that. They see that improvement in him. He's not whatever you want to call it. He's not scared. Oh, he's scared in the playoffs, which is nonsense. It's not about being scared. If you're new to the playoffs, you're new to something, you're excited. So you can get like too much adrenaline and you don't perform well. Now Jeremy's getting past that. All of those things. And that's what this great start to the season is about. He's showing, I've got improved skill level. I've got the skills. And now the mental approach. One thing about Patrick, things don't seem to bother Patrick much. Although I do think Patrick this season as the starter has been a little more nervous. So it's easier when you're the backup. It's harder when you're the starter, especially when you're a new starter and you're not used to it. So I think Patrick might be going through a little bit of that himself. But I think Patrick has kind of less of a caring attitude than Jeremy does. And I don't mean caring as caring for human beings. I mean caring like he didn't care as much about the noise. And he's used to whatever, being dissed or having to go to Europe or whatever the heck it is. So he doesn't care as much. I think Jeremy's developing more of that attitude. And that's good. And I'm not saying you don't want to just not care, but he's tuning out outside stuff. And because he's able to do that, that's why he's performing better. Or that's one reason why he's performing better. And the team can see it. If the team knew that he couldn't sleep or he couldn't eat or whatever after games last year where he didn't do well, what are you going to do? You want to help the guy out. So maybe you kind of take the pressure off of him, or you let him not play as much. You put him on the bench. Well, but now when you see that he's okay with things, then you're going to play him more. And maybe you put him back as a starter. So it's like if Jeremy keeps playing like this, he's going to be in great shape. I mean, that's it. That's all that it is. Then Jeremy had another great defensive play, and this is early in the fourth, or no, it's middle of the fourth. Jeremy had another great defensive play on Ty Lawson. He did the same thing he did earlier in the game, which is Ty Lawson was covered on a shot. He didn't have anything to do, and it became a turnover. And I put wow. So that was great to see. Then Jeremy had his 6th assist of the game. Nice pass to Terrence Jones, who then made like one dribble and scored, I believe, a layup. What is this? Okay, then Ty Lawson started to get hot. So this was, I don't know, this was maybe like 5 minutes left in the game. And this is where I made a note, like, yeah, you got to get past this. Guys just think they can attack you late in the game stuff. And he will. Like, again, I think there's a lot of fake confidence going on with this, as I mentioned earlier. Guys that think Jeremy can't defend, and so they're playing above themselves. But that won't last forever. Then we started getting into hack of Dwight. That started slowing the game down. It was just really annoying, but it happens, and it's going to happen. Then Jeremy had his 7th assist of the game. This was a really nice play. Denver wanted to do hack of Dwight, but Jeremy was so quick with the ball that he passed it up ahead to Bieber, who dunked the ball before Denver was able to foul Dwight. So that was a terrific play. That was a really smart play by Jeremy. Then we got to late in the 4th, and Clyde ripped Jeremy for Jeremy's defense when James Harden was guarding Ty Lawson and not Jeremy guarding him. I have no idea. Look, hopefully Clyde just missed the play and assumed that Jeremy was guarding Ty Lawson. Because if that didn't happen, then I mean, that's just ridiculous. It's absurd. You essentially had a situation where Jeremy's not even guarding Ty Lawson. Ty Lawson beats James Harden for a layup, and then Clyde Drexler says Jeremy needs to play better defense. Like, what are you talking about? What is that even? How would that even come up when James Harden just got torched on defense? I don't know. I don't understand that at all. And it really made me mad. And then I think Ty Lawson torched James Harden again, and then Clyde Drexler started making excuses for James Harden's defense. So it's like, what are you doing, dude? You rip Jeremy on a play when James Harden gets beat, and then James Harden gets beat, and then you make excuses for him. Why are you not doing that for Jeremy? Why does it feel like you're targeting Jeremy? What is that? Why do you keep propping up Patrick and putting down Jeremy? And now you're criticizing Jeremy and making excuses for Harden. What the heck's going on? This is ridiculous. It's not right. So I said, people got to say something about it. If you don't like it, say something about it. Let people know about it. That would be my advice. I like Clyde Drexler. I like him a lot. This stuff's got to stop, in my opinion. I don't like this stuff. It's not right. And it should not be happening. Be fair about it. Jeremy's on a play, and his man beats him. You want to say something about it's great. Don't criticize Jeremy when he's not even guarding the guy. and don't criticize Jeremy if you're not going to criticize James Harden. Okay? Don't do that. That's just not right. Then late in the 4th, Jeremy had a blown assist. He passed the ball to Chandler. Chandler, I think, missed the layup, he missed the layup is basically what it was. Then I put Ty Lawson's going nuts, whatever. This was, again, late in the game when Denver was toast and Houston was just playing don't foul defense. Just let them score, but don't give them a three-pointer and don't foul them. So then Jeremy scored a reverse layup, which I did not see, actually. Then somebody was shooting free throws. I think it was Dwight, although I don't remember. And Ty Lawson and Jeremy were talking, and they were laughing. So it's like I said, players just like talking to Jeremy. They enjoy him, and it's great. It's just great to see. And it was really nice. Now, Jeremy looked like he tweaked his leg late in the game. I don't know if he got kicked or as he was guarding Ty Lawson, and I don't know if Ty ran into him or what. I don't know what it was, but hopefully he's okay. Then Jeremy came out of the game with 55 seconds left, and so that's good. I also made the note, finally, that because of Hackett Dwight, because of that strategy, sometimes Jeremy will miss a few more points, or he will miss a few more free throw attempts because of that. This is why I said after they stopped hacking Dwight, James Harden took the next couple shots, because his stats are going down because he's not getting shots because Dwight's getting free throw after free throw. So that'll happen with Jeremy too. It might bring his numbers down slightly, but that's just the way that it is. But it's something that's kind of a byproduct of playing with somebody who gets fouled like that. Okay, summary of the game. Great win. This was an excellent win. It was an expected win because of Denver being the back-to-back, but they still had to win, and they won. The Jeremy Lin redemption tour continues, and I am seeing doubters being swayed all over the internet. A Real GM on Clutch fans everywhere. You can see people changing their minds. Some people don't want to change their minds, but people who are open to changing their minds are changing them. I mean, Jeremy's playing great. What is he averaging? Like, I don't know, 18 points a game, 18.2. I looked it up. It's like number 35 or something in the league. I mean, he's playing incredibly well. There's nothing to say. Yeah, there's still things to work on, but he's playing like a top-level player, and it's good to see. Patrick found his jump shot in this game, and I'm happy for him, even if it was a tryout game. I like Patrick, and I want Patrick to do well, so I'm happy that he did well. There was some report that came out, I think it was after the game, that Omer Asik's apparently moping around, or his energy's low for the team or whatever. So that's unfortunate. And look, Jeremy's not happy with his situation, I'm sure, but he's handling it well. It'd be nice if Omer handled it maybe a little bit better too, but it just shows you some guys don't handle it as well. So it helps you give contrast to how Jeremy's handling things. And so I said, Jeremy should demand a trade. You don't want to look like Omer Asik looks right now, in my opinion, because it's not a good look. You look like somebody who you're just going to throw a fit when you don't get your way. Don't do it like that. Do it like Jeremy's doing. Go out and show them you're good and you should be getting more playing time. Finally, as I mentioned earlier, the team chemistry is improving. That is really good to see. It's getting there. It's still going to take time. Might take the whole year, especially if you bring in new players for Omer Asik, but it's improving, and that's good to see. Okay, the next game is coming up in the United States on Tuesday, November 19th. It will be against the Boston Celtics, so I guess we'll maybe get to see Rajon Rondo or his team at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, again here in the United States, which means the game will take place on Wednesday, November 20th at 9 a.m. in Taipei, Taiwan. It's currently 8:56 p.m. on Sunday, November 17th, I think it is, 2013, here in the East Coast of the United States, which means it is 9:55 a.m. on Monday, November 18th in Taipei, Taiwan. Thumbs up, thumbs down, your comments below. Again, sorry this video is so late, but I did want to get it done, and we have time now to go over this stuff because there is no game today or tomorrow, actually. So there's still some time to kind of digest what happened in this game against the Nuggets. Come and join us on the Conservative Media Facebook group, which has over 2,500 members and counting. You'll find information about that in the video description below the video player. You'll also find information about the CNM Jalen Vids Twitter account. You can come and follow us there. I do go over there and put tweets out about Jeremy, a pretty decent amount when I can. So I'd love to come and talk with you over there as well. Once again, I am Paul Filiariel, PFE, the NBA expert. Thanks a lot for watching Conservative New Media. We strive to be the #1 Jeremy Lin YouTube fan channel. Excellent win. Thrilled for how Jeremy's playing. Everything's going well right now. This again, I'm not getting into any of these little side issues and Ty Lawson defense. No. Jeremy's playing well. The team is starting to find a little bit of a groove. Good. Let's just keep moving, keep going. If Jeremy keeps doing like this, everything's going to be just fine, no matter what happens. So, okay. Hope everybody's having a great night, great day, wherever you are around the world when you watch this video. Take care. I'll talk to you again soon.